Alright, I'm going to do something on this channel that I've never done before, which is like half the things I do on this channel I've never done before. Alright, base clear. I did a little bit of work on Jim. Jim's out, did a test drive, that worked. So, wintertime stuff, I got me a project. I have a broken tool here on Broken Tool Garage. So see, I'm missing a leg. The leg here has been bent up, right? And it's not really usable, and you see it's just not in great condition. So I'm going to rebuild this thing, and I've been putting this on for years because just go buy me a cherry picker. Well, there ain't $200 anymore, so we're still at that, they're $200. So I got kind of a mess. It's just been sitting out because I was like, well, I ain't going to do anything with it, and now I'm going to do something with it. So I'm going to go in and try to get this all cleaned up. Now the goal of this is I got a smudge on my screen. Well, smudgy smudge. Anyways, the goal of this is to get it down at my other storage shop, just to kind of move engines around and load engines up. Not necessarily be trying to pull engines and all that stuff out of vehicles. Just, that's it, ladder duty. Actually, the RAM for it is over here. Mine blew on old Blue right here. So that is the RAM from this cherry picker. So what I'm going to do, what I have is, I have this nice thick wall leg here. I was hoping that that leg there would slide inside it, and it don't quite work like that. So yeah. The other thing is, I was hoping it'd fit in that channel. And guess what else don't work? It doesn't fit in that channel. So I'm going to go through with my limited ability in fabrication, and y'all can come along for the ride and watch me, butcher this project at least, right? Okay, I'm making my first cut. What I'm doing, I'm just cutting the length of this leg and going to replace the leg. And it's going along pretty good. I'm taking a break, kind of a hand brake, and we're looking pretty good, lining up there. Not going as I expected. I'm using mainly my Ryobi angle grinder with a cutoff wheel, and I use that one, my other cutoff wheel right there, a little bit, which I think I'll probably finish that cut up now they got it marked. I was going to just cut the corners and then go to my Sawzall and just zip it down, but as you can see, there's multiple blades here. The Warrior blade, I don't know what kind of Warrior it is, maybe a plastic or a hot butter Warrior, but that's about it. Here's the other one. It lasted about 30 seconds before the teeth are gone on it. And my last Milwaukee, I bent it. So if you ever bend one of these, sometimes you can get them straightened out to work good, but I kinked it pretty good. So there's a good chance that's going to be a weak spot right there. And if I go to straighten it out, it could just snap off doing that. So that's why I'm not going that method. So a little slow and torturous. But I need to buy me some more Milwaukee blades anyway. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to cut that. And once I get it cut, I'll probably go ahead and do our little notch here for our rotation. Just mimic what they did. Looks like they just kind of did, you know, just almost a 30-degree or something, and then rounded it and just cut that little piece out. And what I didn't show you, because I just picked it up today, is my round stock. That is a 1-inch hole with a roughly a 3/4 ID, 1-inch OD. So that's almost exactly this black iron pipe that I got right here. All right, got it cut. Got my notch in it, which is a little bit bigger of a notch. So, but this is a bigger piece of tubing too. I got my holes lined up, and what I did, I just set this on top of there, and then come through with my speed square. You can see my lines where I kind of, you know, put speed square up there and guesstimated center. Marked it on that side, took it off, and then come up and marked it. And then I took my tape measure, since this is 3 inches, come in 1.5 inches, dotted it, and then went in and hit it with my center punch. getting holes drilled in there. This metal, I don't think it's normal mild steel. I think it's a low-grade structural steel just because the way it's cutting. It's taking a little bit longer to cut, and just the way it's reacting, it seems like it's like when we're cutting it, all the pieces are like magnetic and everything. So they're grabbing hold of the drill bit and all that stuff. And usually mild steel don't do that. It just cuts, you know, like butter. So getting through, I got the first hole saw done on it. I just need to go through and do the rest of it. I think my little drill bit thing, the shaft on it is a little bent because it's already wobbly a little bit. It's not really meant to be doing this, so probably pushed a little too hard on it, but that's easy to do with any drill bit, especially your cheaper ones like what I tend to get, right? And what most of us tend to get. But I'm getting there, so I need to do that hole, and what is it, 2 holes in it? Yeah, 2 holes in it. Now I only have a 7/8. That's all I have is a 7/8 hole saw. But with a hole saw, usually it's a little bit bigger diameter. So I'll probably have to come through with my burr bit or something like that and finish the hole out. That way that will be a good fit in there, and then get that welded up. Okay, the 7/8 was nowhere near big enough. I don't have a 1-inch. My next one up is 1.125. Say it right. I had to practice saying that 15 times. So what I did was cut a hole in a piece of wood and stuck that down in there just to see how much wallow I'm going to have in that thing. And it's more than what I want, but if I do a 1-inch, a 1-inch is going to be exactly the pipe size. So I'm going to have to go in and ream the thing out anyway. So I think I'm just going to use that and just deal with welding it. Well, I mean, it really don't have to be, it just needs tack welded. I mean, and then the next step is going to be cutting this flange off, because my tube will fit barely, well, it just got the rounded part fits in there. So it's basically, this is the same size as my tube. So I'll need to cut that off right there, stick my tube down in there, get everything lined up with the tube. Then I can flip it over on its top and do some reinforcement. I have my angle over here, which is probably going to be the same harder steel. So I think this is going to be a higher grade steel than this. That's just what I'm thinking. I bet that's a 1030 is, well, they don't do the 1030s. They do like the A whatever numbers. I'm not familiar with those. I'm used to like the, is it a 1008, 1010, 1030, 1045, you know, so on. I remember those easier anyway. All right, got my holes cut. Getting ready to put the pipe in there. Of course, I had to wash everything off because I was using oil to cool down the drill bits and cutting tools. So I think what I'm going to do is not cut a hole in the other side and recut that hole to the larger 1.125. I'm going to leave it the way it is, and then I'm just weld on the outside of it. Got it kind of clamped in there. That way I can mark it real good. I can cut that, get it in there, get a couple tacks in there, make sure it's where I want it. And then come over here and do that to the other side. So pretty easy there. Once I get that done, I can go through and deburr everything and clean that stuff up. And then get over to this other piece and start working on it. But that's the progress we've got so far. All right, that one's tacked in. That one's a little harder because it didn't go all the way through both sides like this one. And what I did, since my hole saw was a little big, I put a little bit of a spot weld right there to take up a little bit of the room. I just noticed it was kind of tilting that way. That's why I put it at that spot. So that's getting me lined up pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and mark that, get that cut. By the way, this cut's a whole lot easier than this stuff. Man, that stuff is not the same steel as this. So, anyways, overkill. Going to get that done, and the real test is when we're going to put everything together, whether it fits or not. That's why you're hanging out to the end, right? Okay, I bought hardware. So, it's only like $5 for all this hardware to put the rest of this together, and then it's like $7.99 each for these casters. 3-inch caster, cast iron wheel, non-swiveling, which is pretty much standard. That's kind of how my other one's set up. It's a 4-inch, but I got one wheel on there. If we look at it, I don't think I'd want to do a 4-inch. It just would set, it wouldn't set right. I could get away with it, I don't know. But I think this is going to do here. I got my bolts slapped in there, both sides. Look over here, got the plate. It is cut off and it's just set up there. So I'll probably go ahead and put a nut and washer on there and torque those down. I wanted to get the bullpen over here. Show you what I'm talking about. Like what we got here, this pin, this bull pin with the clip on it. But those are like, only like $8 each or $13 each or something like that. So like I said, I got all my bolts for $5. So I'm like pennies for that bolt. So I'll just deal with it. Like I said, it's going to be the spare one. Not too worried about that. I did get enough fasteners to go ahead and mount the pedestal up there, and I found my support straps. So I should have enough to get all that on, and I'll clean up this old hardware, and we should be ready to go. I just need to get the RAM on it, which is the original RAM, and of course buy me a RAM for my cherry picker. So overall looking pretty good. I don't know how I'm going to attach that wheel. So let's look at our options. We got a wheel that needs to attach. So as you can see, you can't see the screws, so and it don't swivel out of the way. So doing that could be kind of a pain. Woo, not so cold in the shop anymore. About to shed a layer. Got that bugger off right there. So that's one of the things that I saw on there. It's like, I bet those welds aren't very deep. And that's right, they were kind of surfacey. So I was able to just go around and spend a little time on it and knock the thing off, and there we are. So now it just needs to be cleaned up real good. And I noticed those holes. Yeah, I got tools and stuff everywhere. See, this is how you know if you're doing something, is by how messy your workspace is. See, well, we got those booger welds in the way, but so anyways, yeah, those line up pretty good. I know we're all shadowy in there, but it's dark versus, you know, light over them or red or whatever. So that's good, and those are straight. It's not at an angle or anything. So I'm going to do it the same way. I'm going to finish that up, get that, put that in over those holes. So I'll probably bolt those on. Now it doesn't work front to back because the pattern's different. So that's probably did have a 4-inch on it. So, but whatever. I'm making my own stuff up. Do it however I want to, right? Till it fails. Okay, got some progress done. Wheels are tacked on. I'm gonna mock this up and see how it works. Also, it was that one fell out on this, so I went in and tacked one side. Once I mock it up and get everything done, I'll probably come back and tack that again, as well as go get some Rust-Oleum Reform and Seal. And I have this handy little thing I got from Eastwood. It's got 3 little holes in it, 3 or 4 holes. And what it does, it sprays it out. And it hooks to the can. It's one-handed, 1/2-handed, and I snake that up in there and just shoot it, and then do that on all the tubes, and that'll give a good sealed rust preventative on the inside of everything that we see, right? That's after I get it mocked up. The other thing, if it looks good, I'll probably, like these bolts, those holes lined up, so I got the hardware. I'm just going to put the nuts and everything on those, and then come in here and plug weld where the holes are in the back. And I think that's about it. If everything turns out good, we should be seeing an assembled piece here shortly. And then my little plate that I have down there, that'll be part of the mock-up. I'll put that on, make sure that works, and then I'll figure out what I'm going to use. I got several pieces of metal. Here's the stronger angle iron that I got 1x1. So some sort of permutation of that should get that piece back on there and make that a little wider and structural. Okay, here we are, 15, 20, I don't know, I'm not timing this thing. However many minutes later to get this thing mocked up. Nothing's torqued down, but everything's in place and working. The leg, it's not popping up or anything. With that bent leg, it would just cant over. You couldn't get any weight on it. And we're going to move a little bit because I don't have the little upright straps done, but that locks in place. And there's a light duty, you can see it's half ton all the way out, 1 ton, 2 ton. Unlike mine over here, the big one, you can actually get engines out of trucks with it. It's, what would it be? 2 1/4 ton, yep. But it's 1,125 pound on the end versus that one's 500 pounds, so. Yeah, and it's a lot taller. This one's kind of short, but it's going to work to do what I wanted to do, which is move engines around out of the shop. All right, let's take a peek at how I fixed the little side leg right here. So last time we saw, we had this bolted on, right? So while it was bolted together, I went through and did this series of welds because it was gapped, right? So I had to go in. See, that's where a stick welder would have come in handy because it would have filled that gap up so much easier. But I got my little flux core wire welder and it gets the job done. So then I found these 2 scrap pieces of metal that I had. And this actually was from my winch I put on. I went to put the winch on with all the brackets and everything, and there wasn't enough room between the winch and the top beam of the trailer, so I had to rethink that. But that come in handy. That's a good little piece there. Wish it would have ran all the way down, but I had another little piece there from another project. So this right here had to fill gaps again in there, so welded that up, did a couple 3 welds in there, did a couple little plugs and some spots. So I spot welded kind of where the critical spots would be, right? And then on this piece right here, got that welded in, and I think that's going to hold. If that don't hold, then something else, yeah, it wouldn't have held the way it was before, right? So that's all we got there. Didn't really do anything on the inside. Looped up the wheels, got the wheels bolted on. I just went in on this one, did the little plug welds to go with my tack, so that shouldn't break off. If it does, I'm doing something wrong. Got some new chain, and I already had a hook, so that got that put back together right there. So this right here is ready. I need to get that outside because I'm going to be using this reforming seal. You know, it's got a tag over it. It's a rubberized coating. I'm going to be spraying that on the inside with the little special Eastwood tool. And I'm sure other people have this little bugger, and I showed this already. But I'm getting ready to do that. And it's messy. That's why I'm going to put it outside, because it will stain your floor. So, yep, that's what we got. I'm going to leave this loose for now because I'm going to be transporting it, right? Because this isn't for use in this shop. This is for use just moving engines around in a storage shop that I got, right? So as soon as that gets done, I'm going to get it loaded up eventually, and then get that down there, and then we can see it working. We can hopefully see it working. We might see it working. You just got to watch it and see if it does work or not, right? Okay. Here we are, together. Got the new leg on it. Got a 360 going to be lifting up right here. We're about to find out if I'm going to lift up a 360. If I can get the handle to, you know, get out of there. Alrighty. Got to do this one-handed. I didn't bring all my good tripods and all that, but here we go. Handle up in the way. There we are. It is working. So as you can see in here, I need to get that one off the table, and of course loading these engines. I think this is going to be the next engine right here that I'll work on coming up for the new project. Whew. Junky old Ford stuff eventually, get to that, and I'll probably be using that bell housing as well for the next project coming up. So yeah, I got to do some organization first though. Get can't show you that yet.